If life feels uncomfortable right now, maybe it's just because God is trying to elevate you. Discomfort is the first sign, right, of what is coming, that change is to come, that growth is ever more, and at the place that you're in right now, you're simply just outgrowing it. Let's go ahead and get into the next episode. Yo, what is good, everybody, man? Welcome back to another Kids Room podcast episode, bruh. Hopefully, everybody's feeling loved and blessed as always, bruh. If you are liking this content and enjoying these videos, man, I appreciate it if you just like, comment, and subscribe. I know that what we are doing right now is just growing a community, growing a relationship with Christ. So let's continue to do that together. Now let's go ahead and get into the word, because today is very special. Today is a very good word, because a lot of times, even now, we are not always ready to move when God wants us to move. We always get a little nervous, or we want to dip our toe into the water, but God wants us to dive into the water and be ever more changed by what he has for us. And it says it even in the word, in the book of James, chapter 1, verses 2-4. It goes on to say, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of what? Many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance do what? Finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." Growth requires pressure. God uses discomfort to stretch each and every one of us. We were not meant to take on the full force of this world. God was meant to take on most of the worry, most of the pain, most of the weight of the world off of you. That's why he did what he did. That's why he sacrificed himself. But God wants us to get into discomfort at times, because it's going to stretch us, because it's going to better us, because sacrifice and struggle is necessary in order to build, right? The same thing when Israel was leaving Egypt in the book of Exodus, right? We see there that even then the workload was increased, that God made the environment very difficult for the Israelites to stay within Egypt, right? Because God knew if he didn't stretch them, if he didn't make them discomfort, if he didn't make them uncomfortable, then they would never leave slavery, right? At times we will keep ourselves locked away, be in jail in our minds. So God puts us in discomfort, in reality, in a trial, in a tribulation, in order for us to stretch us, to get us out of there, right? Because we will never move forward. We will never become free until we learn to break our own change, right? So God made Egypt uncomfortable to push them to freedom. This comes to jobs, this is friendships, this is old routines. These are things that become discomforting in order for God to let you know that it's time to move on. So discomfort is just a push, right? Because it's pushing you of what you are outgrowing. It's pushing you out of that small room into a bigger room, because sometimes you are being pushed into something that you do not know, but you do not even realize that it is something greater that is on the other side of that, right? In the book of Jonah, we see that Jonah wanted to stay comfortable, so comfortable that he ran away from what God said. And God allowed a storm in his life, allowed a fish, allowed a repositioning in his life, all right? To tell him and to keep him and to be like, this is what you need to do. Don't run from what I am trying to bring you, because I'm still going to bring you to purpose. I'm not going to punish you. God is not going to punish you. But what God is going to do is allow a storm in your life to reposition you back into purpose, right? Because discomfort isn't destruction. It's directing you into the right direction. That feeling of, I just don't fit in anymore, right? This is just not feeling right. Something is feeling off. You're going back and forth. You are being like a wave that is crashing against the land, right? You're going back and forth, back and forth. You're very unstable. No one can stand on your boat. You're rocking back and forth. You aren't able to stick to one thing, right? But God is saying, no, if the season isn't feeling right, if the relationship isn't feeling right, if the job isn't feeling right, if the habits aren't feeling right, maybe it is time. or not even maybe, but it is time to move on because you outgrown this level and now it's time to move to the next one. Right? It's a signal to our brains and to our life and into our faith that God is trying to transition you. God isn't trying to bring you through hard times for you to be left empty-handed. God is bringing you through trials and tribulations, right? Notice that I'm saying bringing you through. Not pushing you through, not just letting you go through, but bringing you through as well. Because like it says in James, let the perseverance finish its work so you are doing what? Lacking nothing. Very important. Because what does it mean when perseverance is trying to finish its work? It's building your next season. That's what discomfort is doing. David ran away from Saul. Right? Before David became king, there was years that he had to spend hiding, surviving, relying fully on God. A lot of times God will have you rely fully on him when you won't even realize it. You realize one day you're waking up and you're like, man, I might be just going through the motions, but every day I'm thanking God. Every day before I go to bed, I'm thanking God. Now before I react, I'm thinking about God. Before I talk, I'm thinking about how Christ would talk, how he would act. When you're doing these things, that is growth. Growth happens a lot of times, not even overnight, but just through a gradual amount of time. Then one day you will just realize your wave will go like this and then boop, you'll just shoot up. And maybe you'll take another dip, but know that whenever you're at a long time of being at a dip and you shoot up, know that when you go through another dip, you're never at the same level. That next dip is just above your last one. So you're just continuing the upward trend, right? Because a lot of times these uncomfortable, discomforting situations, they're teaching us leadership, courage, strategy. They're teaching us being able to have better decision making, and it's ultimately just teaching us how to rely on God fully with faith, not seeing everything, but having hope that there is another way, that there is the correct path, that there is the promised future for you, right? So because the kingdom requires certain qualities that God wants us to have. God calls us to have certain qualities for us to be a tool for him to use. So more discipline, maturity, sharper focus, right? God is preparing us, all these things, all within discomfort. So if life is just feeling discomfort, like uncomfortable right now, don't panic. Elevation always begins with a little turbulation, with a little agitation, with a little irritation. Elevation follows these things. So God is stretching you before he elevates you. He's getting you out of the slavery mindset. He's getting you out of the mindset of I'm stuck, I'm in jail, I'm doing these things, I have to make these people happy, I have to make this job happy. Getting you out of there to let you know that it is okay, that there is still a little bit of friction as you are moving. Know that it is just a little bit of friction that's pulling you back in order to shoot you forward, because punishment is just preparation. I appreciate y'all, each and every one of y'all, man. I want y'all to know that purpose and mission follows your life. At the end of the day, if you woke up today, God is not done with you. So know that God has a plan for you and I. Jeremiah 29:11, man. If you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, bro. I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me on this one. And I'm going to catch y'all on the next one.